Good evening, folks, and welcome to FMA Discussion. This is episode 461, and tonight's going to be more theme-oriented in that we're going to be talking about Lineage, and Bryan Cannata will be joining me soon. If you're interested in checking out Bryan Cannata's bio episode, I would refer you to episode 319. If you wanted to check out his Bowie episode, that would be episode 383. So for tonight's purposes, we won't be really covering his bio. We're just going to get his intake on how he feels on Lineage. Now, mind you, we're just going to give you guys the pros and cons just from our lens and some comments that came through the test run. By no means is this going to be a metric system, how you should feel. Okay, we're just going to get some insight on this, the pros and cons, how people value it, and what communities maybe might value it more than other communities. And that's really all. So if you're watching, tell us where you're watching from. Smash that like button, and we're just about to get started. Stick around the end. I got some stuff to go over. Announcements. Hey, how are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Good.
Actually, do I need to turn that TV off? Is that going to get you?
It's not bothering me, but I don't know if it's
No,
good.
I meant like your video struck or something. Let me just.
Okay.
You know how weird the algorithms are.
Yeah. They'll be watching that all of a sudden. Hey. So it was a great test run. I got some really good suggestions from folks I've made inclusive on here. I'm kind of excited, and it seems like the community also was kind of excited to hear about this. So hopefully, I think we're going to get some good views on this, and hopefully in the comment sections or will be also. Folks, yes, for watching, tell us where you're watching from. We got Eric O'Brien already. We got 8 folks already. Yeah, smash that like button. Tell us where you're watching from. So just, I guess, to kind of get an intro to this, pros and cons, and then we can kind of dial into, the importance there, then how it can be used, kind of negatively where folks are, off the coattails, affiliation, then with respects to teaching or getting students or how it governs you maybe in your presentation of the curriculum and what you're really trying to stress based maybe on that lineage. But first, lineage, in your opinion, and I'll piggyback off you, what do your overall lens on lineage?
Well, like we talked about in last night's discussion, I think lineage, the importance of lineage is purely contextual. It is, from a performance standpoint, it doesn't matter one bit. From a performance standpoint, it's either can you do it or can you not do it. It's a very binary sort of thing. And it really doesn't matter who you learn from. From a historical perspective, it means a lot, especially if your primary goal is the preservation of an art. That is where it becomes important. And that ties into why people study martial arts. Do you study martial arts because you want to be a better fighter or, better at taking other people apart? Or do you study it because it's as much a social thing and you want to be part of a club? Lineage creates the foundation of that club. It's, the thing that you all are tied to. It's a relationship, a family, if you will. So in that sense, it can be very important. But it's all contextual. The problem is always when people place the emphasis on the wrong thing at the wrong time. That's, my 25-cent opinion.
Yeah, no. I pretty much, I'm in agreement with you. I find value in it, absolutely. If you're representing somebody and, you want to be a good rep, you want to be, integrity to the system and your instructor, the representation thereof, I think it's important if that was really stressed in there. Definitely the social aspect, obviously. I guess maybe just touching on some of the negativity is, when people promote their self-worth just based on who the lineage they came from or whatever, and putting such emphasis on it where it overrides maybe their ability, could be, and I'm just saying could be, or it overshadows everything else because they put such emphasis on it, and whether they're name dropping or this or that, so like,
you can't hide behind your master sword. I say that all
the
time.
Yeah, for sure. So that when I see that I kind of, it makes me take a second glance at the person, to be quite honest. And when I say second glance, I want to expand on that. Meaning I'm not forming a judgment right away, because that's not fair to the individual or the organization that their lineage or they're representing. But I do take a second glance. Is this person solely doing this? And then I look at their other body of work, on social media. And that's sometimes our best metric system, social media, outside of not living next door to the person.
I don't know, man. There's so many people's social media profiles are very, very tailored to present a viewpoint that they want to see the world to see them as.
No, and that's my point. Like that cosplay, that overemphasis on that, and where to cover up. And the thing is, yeah, and maybe it is covering up deficits. I'm not, and I want the folks that are listening to this, I'm not saying that. It makes me take a second look, however, is that what's going on? I mean, and I see this in FMA discussion, been doing this now going on, 4.5 years, so I've seen it all. But some people really do it though. On the flip side, they're generally proud of their organization.
Absolutely.
And they're repping.
They're grateful. I'm incredibly grateful for my teachers.
Yeah.
And at this point in my career, I've learned so much from so many different people that it's like I don't really claim lineage anymore. Mm-hmm. But if you ask me where I learned that, and generally when I'm teaching, I'll say, I got this from, so and so, or I got it from such and such.
Yeah.
In fact, I even referenced you a couple of nights ago, Dean.
Did you really? Was it kind
of? Yes, I did. I was talking about your experimentation with dealing with a knife when somebody's mounted on you. And I said, this is a solution that I think has a lot of validity and needs to be worked on. And, I credited you.
Well, that is very kind of you, because many painstaking moments on the bottom of that,
Oh, it sucks. It sucks. Oh, it's great when you're the instructor and you just get to sit there and kind of giggle at it.
Okay. Could you bridge with your hips more and go to, I know.
More important than lineage, specifically in my mind, however you take lineage and whatever your approach is credit where credit is due. I mean, none of us woke up and figured out this stuff. All that we know came somewhere from somebody, whether it was somebody in the backyard or, somebody with $1 million name. Yeah. Credit where credit is due. But
I'm a huge, as far as advocating that. Yeah. Like, because you never, the whole thing with that, I know we're doing a slight digression here. Like, you never know how long and hard that person worked on that thing to get the kinks out, and and just misery while getting those kinks out and refining it over years and problem solving. And then you just go take this thing, show it to wherever setting, and don't get credit. That I really have an issue with that. Yeah.
But that's really not a digression though, because that is what builds that lineage. The people that do those things, it is the building block of lineage.
True. Yeah, we got a bunch of folks here. I just want to take a moment, because sometimes I get neglectful in this area, saying hi to the folks that are watching, because I get so immersed in the conversation.
Cheers, everybody.
Yeah. Hennessy or something else?
Bourbon and coffee.
Bourbon and bourbon and coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. We got Eric O'Brien, who I'll be seeing tomorrow in Florida. We got Rich Parsons. We got Maynard, Boste, Jason, that Jason guy. You, Germany. Ryan from New York. Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. Mike, California. Gabe, Nevada. And Kurt from Alaska. Francisco. I hope our buddy is okay, Francisco. And we got Emmett, who I believe is from down under. All right, guys, thank you for jumping in. Yeah, so definitely, obviously, we both agree pros and cons, as long as the person's not using it to cover up or just kind of throw it in your face, so to speak, and name dropping and all this. And then you look at their body of work. And again, but on the flip side of
There's
that,
a fine line between selling a narrative and establishing credentials. You know, if you're meeting somebody and, you know, let's say JKD, something you're very, very familiar with. And, you know, somebody said, well, I learned my JKD from VUNAC. And then another guy says, oh, that's great. I learned mine from Heart Cell. You know, that right there tells you a whole bunch without wasting a lot of words.
Yeah. The worst is Ted Wong. So you got everything kind of from Ansano, Heart Cell Ansano, VUNAC Ansano, Ted Wong. You know what I mean? And you want to go, you want to see some heavy duty arguments and actually go to Dwight Woods' JKD group there, and
I get enough arguments on FMA discussion.
I know, I see that. I got an anxiety attack one time. I'm like looking, and I'm like, where are the referees? And this is going on, and some of it was getting, you know, crossing the lines of respect and all that. And you know, I'm getting like an anxiety attack watching this, like. You know, I can't have that in FMA discussion. I mean, that's my own thing too. You know, but I'm a little more on the conservative aspect when it comes to that. But yeah, JKD talk. Yeah. Hey, Greg, I saw your message, Greg. I'm definitely going to answer regarding Guru Dave. Absolutely. So okay. So importance. Again. So this is, you know, I don't know if loaded question is the correct descriptive phrase, but certainly importance, because what might be important to me as far as lineage has nothing to do with you. You could care less based on where you're coming from or where you're training and all that. And I don't think that's wrong. You know what I mean? I have a value of both, because being in a JKD, being FMA, and that I have I value lineage. However, though, it's not the most important component to me when I'm assessing someone or a system, their methodology and all that. I don't use lineage as the sole criteria when I'm assessing something like that. However, though, I think some folks do, though, like, oh, what's his lineage? You know what I mean? And that. Certainly from a self-defense community, you probably don't give two craps about lineage.
Well, you know, I look at it this way, man. Lineage is a lot like an ugly wife. And what I mean by that is she's the most beautiful woman in the world to you, but to the rest of the world,
they're like,
yeah. So
they're putting on them focals.
You know, I think that is possibly the best way to describe lineage. I mean, it is a wonderful thing, but why lineage seems to be more of an issue with mainland Asian arts. There is a lot of lineage bickering within the Southeastern Asian arts as well, but it seems primarily attached more to and wow, I'm going to sound real kind of, you know, woke here, but it's very much a patriarchal structure. It's very much a delegation of authority in a lot of cases, not necessarily a line of history. You know, when you're talking about systems and heirs of systems and who's the rightful heir. I mean, are we
Mm.
talking about, who's the rightful heir of Prakiti Tertia, or who's the rightful heir of, the crown of France?
Or, backwood axe work, you know what I mean? Hatchet
Yeah, yeah.
system, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure the lineage there might not be the most important thing, coming out of, maybe a southern state. And nothing against that. I'm just making an association,
Mm-hmm.
folks. There, you're listening. That's all. But I'm going to tell you something, though. I don't disagree with you on the Asian aspect. However, though, there are some FMA systems, man, where it's like important. Matter of fact, where the other factions or groups are not looked as high or as profoundly or as important to others, pending the lineage of where it went down. And uh, I could name a system right now, but I'm trying to stay out of water.
Here's my answer to that, though, and as often as I see it, and I totally get what you're saying. Again, it goes back to, you can't hide behind your master sword. Can you hit me with that angle one strike? Because if you can't, I don't give.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care what you're. Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. I totally. Again, I guess maybe this is a strong word. I hate seeing it when it's weaponized. When it's weaponized.
No, that's a very good word for the behavior we're talking about.
Yeah, when it's weaponized.
Very good word.
Yeah, when it's weaponized to the point like, well, no, don't go over there. We have the most direct lineage here and all that, and we're taking basically taking the student out of the equation to assess for themselves or try to influence their decision making. So when it's weaponized, I have a real issue with that. However, like I mentioned before, if you're just very proud and all that, people will see that. They'll see that. They'll see the integrity. They'll see the honesty in that. But when you're weaponizing something,
pride in lineage is very different than the weaponization.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with being proud of
agreed.
Your organization, what your organization represents as a whole beyond just fighting ability.
Yeah.
What are they doing? Are they growing the community? Are they there are certain there's a big FMA group that has done a huge amount for the community, but they're often thought of as they don't produce a lot of well-known fighters. And I'm trying very hard.
No, I know.
That's not what we're talking about. But being proud of being part of that because of what they have contributed to the FMA, especially here in the States, is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
But when you try to weaponize it and try to turn it into something for personal gain, advantage, or status, that's where you're just showing that you're basically a very small person.
This camera, I'm going to throw it out the window. Here, just give me a second. I'm going to be right back. I got to unplug it and replug it.
Do what you got to do.
I'm going to smash this thing.
Hey, Ventura. Yeah, absolutely. Weaponizing talks about using it to manipulate, to push people to achieve outcomes. To put it at its simplest, the best way I can describe it is, again, in a fighting situation, you have somebody that's like teaching a drill. All right, they're kind of bad at it, but they are the senior student in that lineage. But there's somebody else in that class that's a better teacher and performs that drill better. So that person, the first teacher, who's of a higher rank, sees that as an affront to their position in this line, and they should be deferred to. And they will frequently, well, I shouldn't say frequently, but they will take that and do, they will pull rank, essentially, to get what they want. And that's weaponizing that relationship. And that's detrimental to the student. I kind of hope that made sense.
Yeah. I don't think I could have said it better, Maynard, and hopefully that helps. Like, one of the things, and actually, like, there are things I came up with FMA discussion that I didn't. In other words, I came up with them. Okay, I always projected the student being the most important piece of the puzzle, and that, but the time when I was promoting that, it's because what I generally felt. But there's a tie to that to lineage. I mean, where like. Where the system or the teacher starts to trump the student, because of that. And to me, I'm not a fan of that, as well. And
No, and I wrote a piece years ago.
you did.
Yeah, about instructors that set their students up to fail.
Oh, nice.
And the gist of it is that, I know we've all seen this. Instructors that are doing a drill or doing something and they set it up so that they're beating their student. Not that they're teaching the student, not that they're helping the student improve, but they're showing what a badass they are. And they're using it to boost their ego and make themselves feel like the big fish. I mean, when I spar with my students, I get hit all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a 53-year-old man who's been around. All right, I don't move like I did when I was in my 20s and 30s. All right, it ain't happening.
Yeah. Hey, wait till you're 53. Okay, wait till you get to 59.
Now my knees are already 63, so.
That's why I'm in the gym like 4 times a week, man. Because man, if you don't use it, you will lose it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, honestly, the biggest reason I continue to work out is so I can stay mobile. But as an aside, the lineage debate is kind of similar to the indigenous people's plight for
I'm catching up on these comments, and I just saw. Okay.
Are we preserving the art, or are we living the art? That is a fantastic point, and that's a very positive use of lineage, especially when you start talking about
preservation,
identity. And look, I'm just a big dumb white guy, so I don't really get to talk about people's cultural identity too much. But yeah, I absolutely believe that in that case, lineage is very important
for propagating and preserving the system. 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we both can obviously agree on that. Let me just see, they're flying in here. What's your thoughts on showing respect by calling Guru, Sifu, Master, GM? Should we use the title the time or once, then call them? To me, I think that's really, Gabe, that's really up to the individual. I tell folks, like, it's just Dean. If they insist, like, sir, I have to call you by a title, then I just say Guru. But I think that's really an individual decision based on the instructor, what they want to be called. I personally, unless they tell me not to, I will call them by their title that I've seen on social media and et cetera, until again they say, hey, look, man, we're not in front of everybody. You can just call me this, but hey, in front of everybody, call me this. So I just respect those boundaries and whether they prefer. But I think it's definitely based on the instructor.
Sure. To add to that, I'm going to say, there are times when it is very appropriate to address somebody by their rank and title, especially during, any kind of official ceremony. But
or interviews. When I do interviews here, I always introduce them by the rank unless they tell me not to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I have always felt weird with the title Guru.
I still do.
I use coach. If you absolutely have to call me something, call me coach, because that's what I do.
I like that better. Yeah, I like that.
And honestly, within the American milieu, coaching, they understand what a coach is.
They can make
it doesn't come with all the Hollywood baggage of guru or sensei or anything like that.
I agree. I think I'm going to adapt that now, dude. I'm going to give you full credit on that, coach. I do like that better. I was never comfortable having something that be my name because I'm such in the mindset, in the lane of I still just consider myself just like a student. Maybe I cross a few more bridges than other people, but yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, Ventura beating their students. I hate those kind of guys. Absolutely. Because personally, I want my students to be better than me. I really, really want them to. I don't think I did my job right if they don't become better than me.
Or at least you made the effort to do that, and maybe their work ethic is just not. But if you made the effort,
well,
to,
granted, but again, and aside, I mean, my personal philosophy is there are very broad terms here, but there generally aren't bad students. They're bad teachers. And what I mean by that is what we're communicating to our students is actually relatively simple stuff. It doesn't take a degree in physics to understand what we are doing.
Mm.
There are developmental drills and all of that, but getting the concepts over to the students, that's the teacher's responsibility. That's one of the biggest reasons to always be a student, always look at new ways that things are being taught so that you can be a better teacher, because one day you'll see something that you'll be able to teach to another student that gets through to them that the way you normally teach doesn't. And that's like a personal pet peeve of mine is that, no, you just haven't found the way to teach the student yet. And that's what you need to be working on. You don't just get to stand up there and do patterns.
Here's an interesting thought based on what you said. Is there an argument when the teacher or head of system, whatever the title may be, when he stops training or seeking new information and is just basically recycling information? I'm just gonna go two ways, because I'm going to give my input on this. Did the lineage die if the teacher head system stops being a student?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because if the teacher stops being a student, that's the totality of the system. The system's not growing anymore. The lineage is now it is dead growth. It is a dead art. That doesn't mean it's not effective. It just means it's not growing. Let me be clear on that. Then it becomes a package, and it moves on down the line.
I agree. I don't think the lineage dies because he is part of the lineage, unless you remove him. However, though, as far as his personal development and when he's going to get to the students, I think there's a death there.
Yeah, and even if you have a teacher, like let's use Tatan Illustrissimo as an example. All right,
who's that guy?
Some guy. I heard he was kind of good with a sword or something. So take him as an example. He taught very late in life. Eventually he died, but the art didn't die. And what I mean by that is you can see all the various factions of KI where the art continued to grow, and they all still respect Tatang as
100%.
Yeah. So, the art didn't die. It didn't become stale. Now, the arguments between the factions, that's their own business. But I'm just talking about from an outside perspective. When I look
outside looking in, is being perpetuated, and they certainly give profound respect to him as a Well, no, totally agree. I'm just making sure I'm not missing. I'm trying to be more attentive to this. There's such an expectation that comes from using the cultural names. For Americans, the words coach as an easy buy. Yeah. I mean,
honestly, that's probably why I'm much more comfortable with using the term.
I like that. I think I'm going to Coach Dean. No.
I hereby dub thee Coach D.
I hereby remove Guru from you and no.
Oh no, you're always going to be the CEO of FMA. I can't take that from
I
you.
tell
I
you,
am not fighting a death match with
I
GM
tried
Protein.
to I tried to resign, but it was rejected. No,
It happens.
yeah, it was. It got thrown right back in my face. So, all right, Lineage. Okay, here's one. I thought Robert Small. This was a couple other guys gave some great suggestions too. So we gave kind of pros and cons of Lineage, how we feel, as long as it's not being weaponized. We covered that. Lineage within standpoint of organization. If the guy's not being a student anymore, doesn't mean the lineage necessarily dies. It's just that could be a stagnation as far as him and the students because he's not evolving, right? When
The lineage doesn't die, but or the art doesn't die, or the art dies, but the lineage continues
correct, the lineage, right? It's just not going to evolve. Correct.
Yeah. Unless somebody resurrects it.
Well, yeah, assuming that somebody else kicks in and removes the stagnation. Yeah. When choosing an organization or instructor, or both, actually, in this case, how much of a metric system does Lineage play? Or could play, I should say.
All right. Let's put it this way. If you are only paying attention to the lineage,
yeah,
you're being stupid. And I'm going to say that straight out. Because let's take Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for example.
Yeah.
Let's say on one corner of your, one side of your town, you've got a Gracie school.
Yeah.
All right. Gracie lineage, you expect certain standards to be held. You expect a certain philosophy of training, all of that, because it's part of that Gracie lineage.
Right.
Down the road, you've got Bob's no-name Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's just hung out his shingle and he's got his own little thing going on there. But the guys over at Gracie's, you don't know the quality of their instructors. You just know that they're instructors. You don't know how that gym runs. You really don't know what you think you know. And the other no-name gym could be the most amazing place on earth. And that guy could, because he's just sort of, a backyard teacher, essentially, because the place is so small. But he might be one of those hidden gems that, nobody knew about because he didn't go into the limelight. So It's a double-edged sword, and you need to do due diligence regardless of what it says on the street sign.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. In other words, name association, right? Well, I've seen these guys, their name, and you mentioned UFC. I've seen the infomercials regarding them. I've seen, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and all that. But there could be this guy, like you mentioned, that, maybe he went through, got the black belt, maybe, and did some MMA, but suffered an injury.
Maybe he was a pure sport jiu-jitsu guy that only went around the country doing amateur tournaments.
That's what I
never wanted to be pro.
Yeah.
But an amazing teacher. Loves the art.
Yeah. Or maybe there was just circumstantial where he didn't, he wasn't prolific, or maybe he just didn't want to be prolific. Yeah. But, the thing is, though, it's in other words, maybe perhaps not the best analogy. Like a woman, people that go purchase a car, if they're not gonna know really what's the better car and on that. They're gonna go maybe the last infomercial they saw, or maybe based on a color. Whatever it might be. It doesn't mean they did their due diligence though in finding out about these. You know what I mean? But I think that a lot of that happens with people just starting to enter, the martial arts world. Now, especially today, with literally at our fingertips, where we can find out about different stuff, instructors, organizations. But back in our time, it's like you had to actually just go there and see if you were fit. Did you like the way the guy taught the class? Was he nice to you? I mean, did you like the chemistry in there? You know what I mean? That was kind of our metric system for determining where we were turning to that. You know what I mean? Today, though, I mean, look at the access everybody has to really find out and decipher what they want.
Yeah. But, all right. And like lineage can be a crutch to decision-making thinking, decision-making process. Lineage can be a crutch for people's egos.
Yeah, if you're lacking something and you need to create a facade or something, replace it, you're going to be you could use lineage. But that's another, in my opinion, that's kind of another form of weaponization. You're covering up a deficit, maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe that you're not particularly good in maybe sparring. I can't, lack of a better choice seems to be relevant. But so what are you gonna do? You're gonna mask that with lineage and that. Let me just see here. I just want to make sure I'm not missing on the comments. Just bear with me.
Yeah, it looks like there's a whole bunch of comments.
No, there is. We got Michael Blackray before the arc was. Oh my God, that's funny. Stagnation. Yeah, definitely on the stagnation. All right, my God. Yeah, they're coming in, and I'm being neglectful here. Old school doja hopping. Yeah, sitting rock. Very true. That's what we got to do, right? Very true. Thank you for joining. I'm not sure you are, sir, but thank you. Lineage can get you killed. Yeah, I mean, right. If you go in there and lineage was your metric system, but you're receiving basically what you think is good fight stuff or self-defense stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And you don't know better. There's a comment that came in here. I'm trying to back. Bryan, here's from Baste.
You should bring Deep Frank.
I've been down to Atlanta twice and didn't hear from you. But yeah, if you ever want, I'm coming down there again June for the Blade Show. Yeah, we could definitely play. Bring your gear. Absolutely. What else? Okay. I think I'm caught up. Yeah. Right now, tons of people. Yeah, by sadness, absolutely, Maynard. I mean, right. If they don't know any better, they're going to, by association, absolutely. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm caught up. Anything you want to add more to when choosing instructor?
No, I think people, you got to test drive. Try before you buy. Go take those 4 weeks at one gym. Then go take those 4 weeks at another gym.
Yeah. Wow.
There you go. 2 months of training that's relatively free, And
you're going to make an educated decision, right? Yeah.
And then decide where you fit in. Decide where you want to train.
Yeah. No, agreed. Especially today, the resources that are literally available to us at our fingertips. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no excuse not to do your due diligence. Absolutely.
And learn to see through a sales pitch.
Yes.
But
yes.
That's really a different kind of topic.
Yeah. So we kind of went on this. And this is, I guess, this can go both ways, honestly. I think there's a pro and con to this. Sharing your lineage or identifying your lineage to draw students. I think that can go both ways. I think if you're proud of it and what you're doing is good, your lineage is great, there's evidence of it from all facets of functionality, representation, they do good things for the community. I think that could be good to use an aspect. Of course, we touched upon the negative of that would be you're just using it, you're showing it people's face to try to get students, and regardless that functionally you might just suck. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but again, you can have a school where the guy that owns the school sucks. Maybe the coaches are good. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, heck, there are a lot of martial arts schools out there that aren't even owned by martial artists. So,
Yeah. That's a
they're owned
whole.
by investment groups and they hire instructors. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
the values and attitudes of the instructor are absolutely critical, much more so than who they study
Yeah.
with,
Yeah. If you walk in, you're
because
not
that's what
resonating
you're
with the
dealing with.
guy. It's probably not the best place to go. You know. Uh, you know. Yeah. And if you go, yeah, right. I mean, yeah, you know what you know, you don't know what you don't know, Maynard, right? You can go to there just because it's a name that you can associate with doesn't mean if it's a satellite school and you don't know how satellites operate and all that, you could be rolling around with guys that could be not nowhere as as far as their ability if you checked out another place where maybe the folks are simply better. So definitely people are going to know what they know and they don't know what they don't know unless again doing their due diligence. Um, okay. Identify. I thought this was pretty neat by Rich last night. Identification of lineage based on chronological tenure, you know what I mean, or advancement. In other words,
Well,
like, okay, so what Rich was, do you remember
yeah, I get exactly what you're saying.
okay.
I'm gonna come at this from absolutely two different viewpoints, but they're going to kind of hopefully meet in the middle. To put it simply, I don't care how long you've been there, you still might suck. So why does that give you any rank, any higher ability over the guy that's only been there for 6 months, but he eats, lives, breathes, sleeps this stuff? You know, who do you want to listen to? Who deserves the accolade? But at the same time, one of the things I like to talk about with when we talk about old martial arts masters and young guys, well, I could kick his ass. Sure, you can. He's an 80-year-old man. Of course, you can kick his ass. You're 25 years old. But whenever that's brought up, I like to point out Mike Tyson and Customato. Customato was old and fat. But
Look at what he created.
Yes. So the value is not in,
Yeah.
on one level, the value is not in the ability to perform, but the ability to train.
Absolutely. To convey information and bring out the
Mhm.
best and maximize somebody's personal performance. 100%. Exactly. So I definitely see pros to it and all that. But much to your point, if the person's been there 15 years and the last 5 of those 15 years, he's maybe came every once a month just to show his face and that, I mean, that, you know what I mean? So if I'm privy to that, that would not be the guy that I would want to go to it. I
Well,
would take the younger guy that's been there every week,
there's a 14th century knight named Descharnay, and he wrote a book called On Chivalry, which, for those of you that are interested in like the Japanese stuff, it's very similar in tone to Hagukure. It's that same sort of thing. Advice from the old warrior class to the young warrior class. And martial arts are a meritocracy. You are awarded for what you are capable of doing. And Descharnay put it beautifully and simply. And he who does more is more worthy.
That resonates with me. You know what I mean? Like again, if let's go back. Let's use who does more. Let's go with frequency. If I see your face more often, but you're a lesser rank, and I see this guy who pops in every once in a while, I'm going to go to the guy who I'm seeing more often, and I might not be concerned by the color belt he has on, or you know what I mean, or the paper. Now,
Well, there's
However,
also effort. I mean,
yeah,
effort is a thing.
yeah, absolutely. Here we go. We got something here. Okay, this is from Mike. Here, let me post it here. And let me just see. What do you think of the situation when a student leaves a group association who was or is good? Student associates with a new group. Members of the former group will say the only reason he is good is because he came from us and he's seen that as well.
My answer to that is those people that are saying that are idiots.
Yeah.
They are disingenuous. They have very, very fragile egos, and they're worried about their special super secret club, not what we're
Not the
there for.
individual for sure, right?
No, no. Rising tide lifts all ships, but it's that friggin' crab mentality that we
I
always.
know. I know. Oh, he went over there. He's got to digress now.
He's a
He's going to go
traitor.
down in
His art's
quality.
not pure. Yeah, well, you beat me in the last 3 tournaments, but it's not the pure art.
Yeah. Oh my Lord. Um, all right. No. Good stuff. We just want to make sure. Hold on here. Let me just want to make sure I'm not missing any questions. Okay, here we go. We got one from Mr. Kramer. How will you continue a lineage from another culture? Should it fit your culture? This is a great question. Wow.
Oh, yeah, and oh man,
That's a great question. That's a great question.
yeah, it is a wonderful question.
Wow.
Let me ask you this: what defines a culture? What is a culture made of? Its history, its tradition,
and tradition and practice, right?
right. So you might be carrying on the lineage of a culture of an art, but not necessarily the culture of the people that the art originated from. Does that make sense? You're part of that. You're part of the culture of the art, but you're not part of the culture of the people. And what you are carrying on, if you are, in the proverbial white guy named head of an FMA system, what's more important? Is the system more important? Is the cultural identity more important? And those are questions that only you, that this directly affects, can answer.
It's a great question, though, and I agree. Let's identify culture, and does the culture have some characteristics as a culture that you're bringing the lineage to? I guess, right? And then from that point, where, if any, changes deemed necessary or appropriate, would be considered. But a great question. Great question. And my camera, oh my God, I gotta get a new camera, man. This is just like the frequency of this thing doing this is getting more and more.
When's the last time you updated the software?
Oh yeah, I did the other day. No, just kidding. Never.
Yeah, might want to check that first before you spend some money.
All right, I'm gonna check out, and I will be back in literally about 2 seconds. Oh, Lord.
Wow, lots of good questions here.
I know I'm getting behind. All right.
Ventura made a really nice point. He said, the art is part of the culture. It is an artifact. It is an artifact of the culture.
Can't argue that. Good point.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one. Okay, what's more important, preserving or propagating the lineage of producing fighters?
What's your goal? I mean, really simply, what's your goal? Do you want to create fighters that are the meanest, bestest, nastiest to get there with the mostest, the firstest?
And you don't really care about propagating, the art, maybe, but
Or are you preserving a lineage? Are you preserving the way a man, a tribe, a a country, whatever.
A good question though.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, hold on here. Let me just. Okay, next we got one from Emmett. Yeah, stuff's flying in here, man. Thank you for everybody that's chipping in and watching. Just making good conversation.
I
Okay,
love
this
people
is
asking
from
stuff because it
Emmett.
means we don't have to think. We can just answer.
Okay, this is yeah. All right, Emmett. What's your guys' opinions regarding if teachers need to be concerned of individuals who seem to be more concerned about collecting certificates from lineages of teachers rather than actually being an honest student? To me, yeah, they get removed. I mean, that's just my opinion. If I'm seeing that and noticing that behavior, uh, but yeah, I'll let. I just want to make sure I'm answering that correctly. Let me seem to be more concerned. Yeah, I have a talk with them, I guess, and if that's their goal, then I kind of would recommend them to go elsewhere. And
That's why I rarely
particularly,
ever give out rank.
yeah,
It's.
I know
I
that's a
mean,
whole. There's a whole other. There's another episode, man. Ranking
yeah.
it's.
I mean, I've ranked a few people, but no,
Yeah.
I don't want students that are interested in rank. I want students that are interested in being better.
Yeah, they're just right, and yeah, 100%.
Remove the cookie and they go somewhere else.
That's it. Yeah, I would talk with them. I would tell them maybe this is not the place for them, and I would give them places, suggest places to them that would serve their need, I guess. Chris Chu, hey, from him. See you this weekend, Mean D. Yes, Chris, looking forward to it. All right, Mike. Okay, here we go. This is from Michael. FMA future topic. How does the martial art affect culture? How does culture influence the art? Dean, this is not asking me to be again, just saying. No, yeah. I mean, I got a whole list of theme episodes, but Mike, I'm actually going to take a second here and write those down. I appreciate it though. And that's going to be all right. Martial art affect culture. Affect culture. And does culture influence the art? Which is a definite yes. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Absolutely. All right. We got GM Dan. What's your goal? And yep, that's okay. We covered that. You answered that. All right, I'm scrolling down, and then we'll get back into it. Just want to make sure no questions have been missed. Fighters, combat sports. Not to. As far as Kurt's question, Maynard saying fighters in combat sports? Question mark. Here's an interesting one. Chris Chu. I have double trouble, unfortunately. Both trying to carry the legacy of the art and the legacy of my father as his student. Honored, but sometimes stressed. Haha. Yeah, it can be stressful. I mean,
that's a heavy burden to carry. I mean,
yeah, especially in your case, Chris. You got your father, Uncle Bruce, and then you got the art of my niece as well. Yeah. Okay. Does pineapple belong to pizza? Here's the most important question. Does pineapple belong to pizza? I don't get it. Do you get it? Good.
I think he's being silly.
Okay.
In which case, I'll say the only way to actually determine that is with a death match. I mean,
yeah, coming from Connecticut, New Haven pizza, where it's infamous, pineapple, that's just blasphemous. But that's just my opinion. Do you give the certificate collectors gold stars? No. The martial arts, let me see here, Maynard. The martial art efforts culture because it protects the culture from being chlorinated or subsumed by another culture. Yeah, definitely. That was especially true in the olden days. Yeah, I can see that. Absolutely. All right. I'm caught up, I believe. If I'm not, folks, let me know. If I missed a question or something. All right, here we go. This is something we kind of came up with yesterday. When teaching, you brought up practice, I brought up teaching. So I kind of fused them into one question. So the question is, when teaching, does your lineage influence your practice and teaching?
I mean, so many of these questions, I mean, they're fascinating rabbit holes to go down. But the thing is, again, it's so contextual and it's so individual. You know, are you trying to imitate a teacher? And then absolutely it affects you. Are you just trying to share your interpretation of the art as a whole? Then maybe not so much. You know, I mean, there are many teachers that I admire that are not in my lineage. And just because they're fantastic teachers. And watching them, I always learn something. And I'm not just talking about martial arts teachers, I'm talking about school teachers and professional like instructors in my day job. People are just like, wow, you know how to teach. So
yeah. Here's my thing on that. When you're trying to emulate your teacher and all that, I think you lose. I think indirectly or directly, you're losing your own identity. Like who you are in that art and who you should become based on your body type, your physique, your previous experience. Yeah. So I see a lot of that, people trying to emulate someone or this person that is not even alive today, and the whole thing is that you're actually, you're doing yourself a disservice as far as your identity, in my opinion. So what about teaching? Lineage can definitely influence your teaching. My God, if you're trying to carry out that exact curriculum based on the lineage, and depending on the methodology is covered, I could definitely see that.
Well, look at Wing Chun, and look at the various lineages of Wing Chun and how drastically they differ. Yet they're still Wing Chun.
This is what's am I missing something with this pineapple and pizza? Rich, can pineapple on pizza? No, fresh pineapple.
It's been an argument on the internet for a long time, Dean.
I guess I've missed it. So
yeah, they spend obviously way too much time on Reddit and reading memes to still be hanging out doing this pineapple on pizza thing.
Okay.
It's 2024. We're on the verge of World War III. If people want pineapple on their pizza, let them.
Yeah, I guess so. But I guess all right. So I must. So obviously I missed something on the pineapple pizza. Okay. But it's funny nonetheless. All right. In my case, yes. That's true. Wing Chun is a chameleon from Michael Blackray. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So definitely get influence, practice, and teaching. Practice, I think you can potentially lose your identity, your self-identity, and who you could become because you're trying to model someone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
But modeling is also one of the most effective ways to learn. It's been a saying for decades. Fake it till you make it.
Fake it.
Yeah, but modeling, it's a very strong psychological tool. Through visualization, through let's say baseball. Okay, say you got a pitcher you really admire. You try to learn to do things like that pitcher. You try
try to do some things or this, but you see what I mean?
You try when you're starting out in your process.
Okay.
You try to be like that other thing, that pitcher. Eventually, you will, through that imitation, find how to make those principles work for you. This can go sideways, though.
Can I just back up a bit? So you can try to make them work for you without losing your identity. Is that what you mean?
Your identity will grow out of trying to be that other person. You'll come to because they are setting the standard that you wish to achieve.
You wish to achieve a similar standard. Okay.
Right.
I got you. Okay.
And how do you do that? Well, obviously, you follow the same path they did. So it is imitation. Um, you know, and we all do it.
No, we do. Matter of fact, there's movie all that. What I'm saying is, without if you're fully embracing that and you're looking at it that is your sole lens, I think that can be where you lose out on your own self and what you could develop. But however, though, for reference points, I think it's absolutely great. We all do it. I totally agree on that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, somebody taught you how to punch at some point, Dean.
Yeah, no, 100%. Oh, we got I think we got the pizza thing. Paul and I recently have been putting in our write-ups.
Ah, okay.
Paulo? Really? We have to talk to him. Is the lineage curriculum all right? Is the lineage the curriculum method, or is the honoring of the creator? Is the lineage?
I think they're inexorably tied together.
I think both. Yeah, tied. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. You
Yeah, I think
when
both.
lineage is split, as an art grows, those arts transform into different things, into something different. Now here's a great example. Now I'm going to talk about you, Mike Blackgrave, if you're still on. Look at how Yuli Romo moves. Look at how Michael Blackgrave moves.
Yeah.
You see the principles.
You see the
principles 100%.
Yeah.
But Michael moving is not Yuli moving.
Yeah.
And what Mike teaches is still what Yuli did and taught him, but through Mike's lens.
Yeah. Mike's body type and his size and yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But 100% though. Yeah.
So I mean, lineage and the curriculum are tied in that way. In that as the people enter that lineage, they also add or subtract to the curriculum.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I'm yeah. Got some more. Okay, let me see here. Okay, from Greg. I feel that martial arts must always grow, absolutely, but only where necessary. Yeah, so just okay. My martial arts journey began in Taekwondo. Same here, Greg. And I have seen changes, both small and big, take place seemingly for the sake of appearing just to justify a position on a committee or board. Wow. Okay. Not to make important or even useful changes. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate, but I could see that. Okay.
Yeah, and this goes all the way back to weaponizing lineage.
The weapon. Yeah. There you go.
That's a prime example of what we were talking about.
For a selfish purpose or a purpose of, I mean, what does it come down to? Fame or fortune, right? So you're going to weaponize it for fame or fortune, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But which is too bad, though. Okay. When lineage. Okay. Anything else you want to add to practice or teaching?
I think we kind of covered it.
Okay, fair enough. It's when does lineage just get sour or just viewed so negatively? We already touched on this, but when does it get sour and has an adverse effect on that system or organization?
Probably about the 5th generation of students. You have people fighting feuds that they don't even know why they were fighting them in the first place.
And they weren't even there.
Right.
Right?
That's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes, you know what? I mean, here's, you know what though? Bryan, right here. This is a lot of this happens from this. When the head dies, right? Mm-hmm. Or the founder or the whatever, right? Yeah.
Well, one of the things that it's a shame but it's just the nature of the beast. We often, and I say we, I should say, heads of systems more often are not, they don't train people for leadership. What they do is they train them for ability in the art, but they're not training them to take over the art, to become their successor. And yeah, it's going to suck if you start off and saying, well, Bob here is going to be my successor and we're going to start training him because I'm fitting to retire and move to Boca Raton, you know?
Which leads.
And it's going to make a lot of hurt feelings because people are like that. But if the heads of systems actually really work to create a successor to this lineage, because let's take lineage out of it and let's use a different word. Let's use the word legacy.
Legacy, there we go.
Okay. Because lineage comes with certain baggage, but you're building your legacy. You've built your reputation. You've built your school. You've got your students. You've got your top students. But who's going to carry this on when you're gone?
In other words, have a plan, right, in place before you, like, in other words, we've seen what happens when a plan, even when a plan was in place, we've seen what happened, right? But like that will didn't get executed, or that plan never made it beyond the people who put it together, you know, the upper echelon or what have you. You know, I think that's a good where you absolutely go sour when, again, a lot of it though, some of it I think is going to be, you know, selfishness, not wanting there. So they'll sabotage, again, fame, fortune. As far as when it really goes south or sour, I think it goes south or sour because, like what you were mentioning, there wasn't any planning put in place. So when it happened, you know, now you have this chaos, this mess, and then, you know, you got people self-appointing. You know, now here comes infighting.
You need to ensure that there's no power vacuum. And I mean, this is something that, like, you know, martial artists should have absolutely learned from corporate America.
That's a good analogy.
One of the things that corporate America is finally starting to really get a grasp on is knowledge transfer and training the next generation to do your job. You know, through mentoring programs, all these things, shadowing, you know, sharing work responsibilities, basically taking one job and having two people do it because that one person is about to retire in 5 years. Correct. And it's going to take 5 years to get somebody to that level. Why aren't martial artists doing this? Why aren't they doing it within their organizations?
And not only that, look at martial arts as a whole, but then look at some of the systems and arts under the umbrella of martial arts that are even further behind that. You know what I mean? Okay, hey, let's reverse this. And you kind of touched on it earlier, but I think there's probably more stuff we can add. How to positively continue a lineage.
Do the right things. And we all know what those right things are.
It is a minute,
We know what those right things are.
We do, yeah.
I mean, as human beings, we do.
Absolutely, Carlos. Yeah.
You know, the thing is, how to put this? All right. I've said this before.
Mike's got to go teach his lineage.
In the motorcycle club world, in that culture, there's a saying. And the saying goes like this: the patch doesn't make the man. The man makes the patch. Really simply put, is that to properly represent your lineage, in this case, what you need to do is be the best example of that lineage that you can be. to give that lineage even more strength. To go back to the whole when we were using the Gracie analogy and lineage there. Somebody trains Gracie, somebody got a Gracie purple belt, you're going to go, that guy's got some skills. All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why? Because all the damn Gracie purple belts have those skills. When they start giving them out like candy, and mama can buy one for her little kid for paying the monthly fees at the school, then it'll be worthless. So be the example. Be the practitioner that you want to be, that you want to see.
Okay.
That's how you grow and strengthen your lineage. That's how you be a good representative of your lineage. Always try to be better, and not only be better for yourself, but be better to make your lineage a shining example of what this art can be, could be, beyond just the physical, but the emotional, the philosophical, the supportive, and the charitable, and the community aspect, all of that. That's how you properly use lineage. When you start using it to claim privilege, then you're a dick.
Yeah. No, that's the weaponizing of it. Yeah. Agreed. I'm with you. I mean, like, again, I think the most important thing, if you want to continue it and you want, your students, whoever's the next in line, like having the fault systems in place, have a plan where this, where you are assuring success, you know what I mean? Where people are not going to be holding the bag and a bunch of stuff and have to just weed through politics and people who are not working in concert and are rather being selfish and that. So yeah, totally agree with you on that. Ways to avoid it. I mean, we've seen it. Decades ago, what happens when that plan is not put in place, and even sometimes when it is put in place, you still see the fraction, and the negativity, created and exist, and sometimes still existing, which is sad.
Lineage becomes politics. But wherever there's people, there's always going to be.
There's always going to be. So, right. And long, I hate to say this, but long as there's humans involved, let's face it, man, there's going to be selfish people who are not going to look for the greater good of the organization, and they're going to have a self agenda. And, generally speaking, that's where stuff's going to go sour.
Let's face it. Most people in the martial arts, in this particular field we're talking about, we're always highly competitive people. We're driven and we're competitive.
Right? No, we are. We think about it. If you were really vested and you're becoming the best version of yourself, you are driven. You are competitive, right? Whether it's with yourself or others,
and that's going to cause friction.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, no. Well said.
Two bears can't share the same stage.
Yes, right. I share the same stage though with on a weekly basis though. No.
Yeah, but everybody knows you're the big bear. You're the CEO.
God, I'm doomed, man. When Paulo put that, man, gosh.
Hey, better you than me. I'm just all right for a white guy.
Right, but then what is your certificate exact? Right? No, you're not the new one.
It says Puente de Puente or something like that. Forgive my pronunciation, but
right.
Pretty good for a white guy. The highest rank you can get without having a Filipina side chick.
Oh God! When you get a chance, check your phone. But I'm just gonna make sure. I'm gonna back check here and make sure I did not miss any questions. And folks, if you got a question or two to get in, because we're about to wrap it up, please. Now would be the time. Lineage, a question of professionalism, a question of art. Did we get to that? I don't. Did we get to this? Another question from UA from Germany. Lineage, a question of professionalism, a question of art, or a question of what fits yourself. I don't think we got to that, did we?
No. But again, back to conceptual. I don't think any of those things, number one, I don't think any of those things are mutually exclusive. They can be everything. You know, your take on Lineage can be all of those things.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be one or it's not binary.
Right. Okay.
And, you know, it can be to certain degrees of.
Yeah. I think man. Well, this was awesome, man. I'm just seeing if anything is coming. Folks, if we went through all the bullet points, so if you don't have any other stuff, you know, I don't want to just beat a dead horse in the ground. So if this is kind of a short but sweet one, so be it, man.
Well, I mean, we've been running now an hour and 16 minutes, so.
All right, so not so much on the short side. Okay.
Wow.
Awesome. Good call. Yeah, it was, man. Yeah. Thank you for doing it. I knew having you do this with me, it would be would result in a very positive conversation.
Well, I definitely enjoyed it, and I think it needs to be talked about. It just, even if all it does is give people something to think about, and maybe look at their organizations and look at themselves and think about what they're doing. And the other thing is to realize that maybe some of the friction you're having with somebody else is due to baggage that doesn't really affect either of you.
Yeah.
You know, baggage from long dead people.
Yeah, I know, and you weren't even there, and you feel like you got to take a side for the good fight, and you weren't even there.
Right.
I mean, you know, but you put in the middle of it, which is, here we go. This is from Rich. For Lineage, why 5 generations and not 3?
Oh, why do I say it goes bad after 5 generations?
I think you might have mentioned. Oh yeah.
Okay. It's generational theory.
Generational theory. Okay.
Basically, it works like this. The first generation has life really hard. They're the ones that are building the structures, whatever those structures are. Don't have to be buildings. They, cultural structures. The next generation is close enough to that they understand the struggle. So they're staying true to the vision of the founders. Third generation is starting to be removed.
Okay.
Fourth generation, nobody's left that remembers the struggles, and now starts to decline.
Got it.
Fifth generation is when everything crashes. It's a very broad overview of generational theory. Some people break it down into 4, some people break it down into 5. But just Google it. But that's why 5.
That's why 5. Okay.
And Rich also says examples I have is 3.
Yeah.
This isn't like, chiseled in stone word from the mount. It's just a sociological model.
Got it. No. Okay. I was in different lineages, 18 years, the Screamer and Larry Tosa, Penjox, Sealot, Yoko, about 7 years, Kobatan, Hema. Wow. But my understanding came from the time with Long Morning, Sealot. Okay. So who is in the 5th generation?
Well, depends on when the first generation was.
All right. Okay.
And the thing is, Kurt, it's not, like I said, it's not a written fast in stone kind of thing. It's a cycle that tends to repeat. It's why most TV shows tend to suck after their 5th season, because they've gone completely through all the story arcs of all the characters. but it's a shorthand for describing a cycle, and that cycle could take place over 2 generations. It really could, but typically it takes 5 generations for the vision of the original group to be completely degraded and fall apart.
Yeah, no. Fair. I mean, fair enough. It's interesting though.
So, which systems lineages are on this path?
Ooh, man, don't.
No, I mean, I really don't, because number one, I don't know all the internal politics. I don't know who's still alive, who's not. You know, I mean, and let's face it, like I'm going to use PTK, Leo Gahe. He's still alive, still teaching, still influencing that organization. So as many years as that organization has gone on, PTK is still only in that first generation because he's still there.
Because he's still there. Good point. Yeah.
You know, so don't necessarily think about it time-wise. It's generational-wise.
Generation,
yeah. If that's, does that make a little bit more sense, Kurt?
Invited me going to dinner with the lead, and the fights were among the students of students. Yeah, exactly. Like they weren't even there.
And that's what we're talking about. It's
ridiculous thing. Like I'll give you an example. 20 years ago, when you had the whole Atienza Sayoc PTK, it just was, and you have these guys actually taking sides, and these guys have a year or two tenure in there, and they weren't even around back then. I mean, it was the most, you want to talk about people losing their identity and picking a side for something. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever witnessed in martial arts. It just was.
And I'm going to say this about those people: they were in it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I mean,
they were in it for their personal identity.
Yeah, and the best was when they were telling you the history, when they were trying to tell you actually like what happened, and they were. It's like, oh
yeah. Look, I do a lot of things, and I love the martial arts. I do. It is one of my passions in life, but it's not who I am.
There you go. It doesn't define right. Yeah.
It's something I do.
Yeah. Some
might even say it's a way I live, but it's not who I am.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's not what I base my personality, my personal identity on, as a martial artist. So you don't like what I do? I don't care. I'm having fun. Students are having fun. There you go.
Yeah. These people just needed to be on the side and down for the cause when they weren't even like part of it. And I'd never forget just noticing that and being like, I just left. That's when I left the FMA community. After that, unfortunately, I thought
whether justified or not is very
it was just ridiculous. Yeah. But awesome, man. Well, hey, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate you doing this.
Anytime.
I
it's not like I have a life.
Yeah. Join the club. No, it's this one as well as I thought it was gonna go, based on how many people liked it in FMA discussion that was coming up, and based on the test run. You know, I knew this was gonna be a good one. You know, so and sure enough. We didn't disappoint. So, yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
hey, sir.
Very happy with this episode, and a lot of participation from people. That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah,
they have
chimed in. Yeah,
they have more to do with making this episode a good one than we did. I mean, really.
You know what? I agree. I think that's fair, and the test run too, man. Getting those good ideas, because like I tell folks, man, I bring up a theme. It doesn't mean though I have all the bullet points to that theme. I just think it's a good idea to talk about the theme episode, but it hardly constitutes that I know everything to make inclusive in that. Interesting conversation, guys. Your discussions are great. Thank you, Gray. Finally, you've given a voice to what some of us have been thinking for a while. Yeah, and that's the whole thing with this, Greg. I mean, we're providing a platform for folks to take a different look at things. We're not advocating one way or the another. We stay neutral, and we let the folks draw their own conclusion on based on stuff that we discuss, and that's all we can do. Which is why I love those team episodes. Awesome. Hey, well, I'm also going to be in touch with you with the event coming up in February, etc. So, yeah. Let me just see here. Oops, something just came in. I'm a firm believer that fighting ability is a must in the lineage discussion. Can you fight? It's crucial. If not, you're passing on a combat system on a dance. Yeah, if I think, Michael, if I'm understanding correctly, if they're advocating that they are in fact a fighting system, I totally agree with you. If they're not advocating that, well, then we know it. They're more into the art and the dance, which obviously there's nothing wrong with that. If that's
and there does come a point where an instructor, like I said, is not going to be out there and able to mix it up and bang it up with the 20 and 25 crowd. However, by the time the instructor is at that point, they should have advanced students that are young enough to get out there, and then they can fine tune and coach. Well, in a couple of years, that might not be out of the realm, because I have considered a couple of positions over there in Germany. So,
oh man,
who knows?
Don't say it that you might be leaving us.
Oh, not for a while. Not for a while. Not for at least 5 years. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All depends on how things go.
Gotcha. Okay, so we got time. All right, awesome.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I'll be in touch. Thank you as always, and looking forward to the end of February with you. So.
Oh yeah. So am I. And
in June. Hopefully,
yes.
I'll see you, and obviously I'm going to see you in June as well. So.
Yep. And don't forget to talk about the raffle.
Yes, absolutely. I will definitely. Oh, Rich wants to know, what is your day job?
Who? Me or Dean?
I'm assuming you.
I work for the government.
There we go. And good show. Bryan's a dreamboat. Final words by one Michael Blackledge. Awesome. All right. I'll okay. See you. I'll see you online in a couple of weeks, and I'll see you in person in June. So.
Yes.
All right. You take care. Thanks.
Have a good night, everybody, and thank you so much. This was a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. All right. Off to the flyer announcement. All right.
Yes.
All right, folks. Here it is. $5 a ticket, and it's all going to the Six Masters. So you can help us. You'll be helping them. So it's posted in FMA discussion. Again, scroll down the comments, and you're going to see all the things that have been donated to be raffled. Okay, it's really going to be help. So I urge you guys, $5. Okay. Again, all the proceeds going to these Six Masters. Okay, a couple, some abroad. I think maybe one here local, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so please, if you could do that, if you need, as far as instructions, whatever, don't hesitate to message me. All right. Who is next? On the 11th, a week from the Sunday, Jim Celestino is coming to US, and we're going to be covering it. Okay. Post-COVID, we're going to be looking at the FMA community from a post-COVID lens. What happened during COVID and where are things at now? Okay. And those are the next two. And then we got some, actually, Kurt, 18th, Lameko the 24th, and technical fighting with Kalani and Renee Growling Dog. That should be a fun one. anytime Renee's involved in something. Yeah, and that's another thing too, folks. If you're watching, if you want to come on and do a demo, you just do demos. Okay, we assuming we already covered your bio, we had you on that. It's a good way to put out there what you do. You come on and you do demos. They're not long episodes, 30, 40 minutes. Pick one thing and just showcase it. Little show and tell. All right. Highly urge you to do it. Some folks have done it and they've gotten some traction off it. All right. And so let me know. All right. I will see you guys next time. And Rich Parsons, we'll be doing episode 2, something he came up with. Check that. That should be, I'm hoping early March. Yeah. Unless there's a cancellation in February. All right, guys. Raffle. Check it out.